know. I think most of you know him as head coach of Harvard University, where he has been for the last 18 seasons. We'll talk about a turnaround program. But over 18 seasons, he's produced 19 All-Americans and 2 national champions. And I think most significant about his leadership at Harvard, I know it's Ivy League. By the way, there's a number of, those of us who are not Ivy League are a little intimidated because there's a lot of Ivy League people in the room, but we'll put that aside. Those of us from Lowell get a little intimidated by some of the Ivy League people in the room. His leadership at Harvard has been rather remarkable. And most significant, Harvard consistently rates in the top 10 of wrestling programs nationally for grade point average. So it's not all about athletics. It's also about academics for the head coach of Harvard. He's also someone who has had great individual success. But I think, as he'll tell you in a moment, he understands the indispensability of having a support network behind you. That's the focus of this talk tonight. Would you please welcome Mr. Jay Weiss, the head coach of Harvard.
Thank you, Jay. Good evening. I'm honored and humbled, actually, to be up here speaking to you all. I've been coming to this banquet for a long time, and I think it's special for me. I know when I was called and asked, and they were saying Mr. Farrell's being inducted, I jumped at the opportunity. So, first, I'd like to congratulate the inductees of the Massachusetts chapter. Coach Chase, Coach Conklin, Coach Darren, Coach Gormley, and of course Mr. Farrell. It's a special evening to honor their accomplishments, but I think more so is they have to get a chance to thank those who pushed them along the way. We all know success is not just one person, it's a lot of people have their hands into it. My goal tonight is to have you go home saying, man, Weiss's speech was short, that was awesome. I never left the banquet saying, I wish that person talked longer. So I understand that. And being at Harvard for so long, I've learned the 3 P's of public speaking, and that's be short, be funny, and be seated. So I've been fortunate to be around so many great people that really have changed my life in and out of the wrestling world. Many are present tonight. I'd like to pass on some lessons that I've learned as a competitor, as a coach, as a leader along the way, in hopes that I can reach many different types of people, those being parents or grandparents, coaches, or wrestlers. If you're not one of those, I don't think I can help you. I know that I'm in the position I am in because a lot of people spent a lot of time and energy along the way on my travels, and I couldn't do it by myself. I'm a product of the famous saying that it takes a village to raise a child, but I also feel that one person can make a difference. And that's why we're here tonight to celebrate 4 coaches that really have had an impact on a lot of people more than just one. So to prove this point, or I need to do an exercise, and I need 100% buy-in, okay? Bear with me, it will have meaning. When I say go, I want this side of the room to stand up and put your hands up. And if that section sits down, I want this section to stand up, this section stand up, and we'll go all the way through. Okay? Let's see how we go. Okay, we have Ivy Leaguers, so we should be fine. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Perfect. Outstanding. I didn't think it was going to be that way. Okay, so there's a reason for it. Obviously, we did the wave, okay? In 1981, Oakland Coliseum, let me set the stage. Oakland Coliseum, Oakland A's were playing the team from the Bronx in the American League Championship Series. Oakland A's were down 2-0. Crazy George Henderson was a professional cheerleader for the Oakland A's. He was on payroll. And he would walk up and down the stands with this big drum and a crazy hair, and he'd be sweating and he'd bang in his drum and he'd start the chants, let's go Oakland, and the crowd would get fired up. They felt his passion. So before this game, he had a vision. He kind of envisioned how he wanted this to happen. And this is how he started this, what we know as the wave. He stood in front of 3 sections, banged his drum really loud, and he'd get all their attention. He goes, here's what we're going to do. When I count to 3, I want you to, exactly what I just did, I want you to stand up, put your hands up, the next section's going to go, the next section's going to go. So he can only get 3 sections. He says, when the next section doesn't stand up, I want you to stand up and boo them. He goes, here's what we're going to do. Let's do it. 1, 2, 3. First section, the second section. You went about 4 sections, and the 5th section, you stand up. On call, these sections stood up and said, boo. So he says, we're going to do it again. 1, 2, 3. All of a sudden, we started going into 7 or 8 sections. It died off. And then you heard the loudest boo in the stands. They were booing that section. Now, all of a sudden, one person has got the attention of the opposite end of the stadium. They don't know what he's talking about, but obviously they know something's going on. And when he told this section, is the louder we go, if we can do this, it's going to inspire the Oakland A's to victory. So he says, we're going to do it. We're not going to try it, we're going to do it right now. 1, 2, 3, all the way around. Okay, 55,000 people did the wave, what we know as the wave. At the time, Ricky Henderson was at bat. If you know Mr. Henderson, he stopped the Sharks marble. He stood out in the batter's box and he says, what the hell's going on here? This thing's going round and around. One person made a stadium of 55,000 people to believe in what he wanted, what he envisioned. If we can do this, we can inspire that team down below. It's crazy. I like the wave as a metaphor because it's about a diverse group of people and what they can accomplish when they're under one common goal. So there's 3 ways that you can get human contact or action. Okay, you can coerce somebody. So your boss says, I need this done by Friday or else. Okay, that works to a certain extent. And obviously in the long term that doesn't work. The second way to do it is you can motivate. You can have a carrot on a stick. If you do this, you'll get a raise. That only goes until a higher salary comes up. The third, and I think most important thing, is to inspire. If I can get you to believe in what I'm believing in, then I'm going to get you to do something a lot bigger than you thought, as opposed to a higher salary. If you look at companies right now or organizations, and I'm sure many of you are actually feeling this, they're seeing a different type of management. Okay, since the 2008 financial crisis, you're seeing companies go back into investing in people. People make things work. They've got pushed back to the almighty dollar, and that's why we're in the mess we're in. And companies are going back to saying, if I can inspire this person, I can get this person to believe in what we're doing, and that person can spread on and maybe start a wave, my company's going to be bigger, my company's going to be better, my company's going to be stronger. So what I'm going to do is I want to talk to those 3 different types of people. So first I want to talk to parents. And I'm speaking to myself. I'm a parent of 2 boys. It's hard growing up today. There's a lot of distractions. There's a lot of things going on that we didn't have growing up. We need to understand it. We need to get our point across and teach life lessons maybe in a different way. But we have to do it. None of us want to see our children fail. But you need to understand it's okay. It's okay to fail. I remember going to my first wrestling camp. I had to cut grass and raise money to pay my own way. I went to this camp and I listened to Mark Lieberman, one of my idols growing up, wrestler for Lehigh University. He said a speech and he said, my goal was to lose 1,000 matches. I called home that night and I said, what am I doing? I spent this money to hear someone tell me he wants to lose 1,000 matches. It didn't dawn on me until as I progressed in my career on how I reacted to a loss and how much more energy I put into getting better and avoiding it and grasping failures. It's okay. It's okay to fail. And I think right now, we're growing up in an area where instant gratification, and we don't want to see people fail, and we want to say it's somebody else's fault. And we just got to get the concept of it's okay to fail. Young athletes need role models. Young people need role models. And what better role model than in our own house? A parent is the best role model. As adults, we need to snap youth and high school sports back to perspective. We need to redefine what it means to be successful. Success is more than a scoreboard or a scholarship. Success does not have to be embarrassing somebody by scoring or celebrating at their expense. Success should be more about the original goals of youth and high school sport. Fun, making friends, learning life lessons and skills, and developing your physical and physiological skills. These goals are often forgotten or de-emphasized on a Friday night or a Saturday afternoon. To be successful is a natural instinct, something to be pursued in a dignified manner. However, the pursuit of success seems to be undergoing a change. Today's success needs to be immediate, and failure is something to avoid at all costs. Accountability is a tremendous characteristic we can impose on our children. Be accountable for your actions, win or lose. If I fail, find out why I failed and do better next time. I read a book, Maria Shriver wrote a book, and in a passage of the book she says, "A wise person once told me if I could spare the pain you're experiencing, I wouldn't, because I wouldn't want to deprive you of the strength and wisdom you gain from going through it and coming out the other side." Let's get our children on the other side and beyond. And the biggest thing is encourage your children to dream big. My next group is coaches. Again, speaking to myself. 5 stages of a coach's career: survival, success, significance, satisfied, and spent. Now, if you think about it, all you coaches are nodding your head where figure out where you are. There comes a time where we survive. Remember my first job, 2 months out of college. I applied for the Division III coaching job at Moravian College, and I think I was the only person to do it. They needed something quickly, so they offered me the job. I was like, I'll take it. Thinking, okay, I got a college degree. You've got to pay somebody $18,000 to $20,000. He goes, well, wait, I didn't tell you how much it was. I said, well, how much? He says, $2,500. I said, $2,500 for what? How am I going to do this? But I did. It's what I wanted to do. It's my passion. So I made it work. As a coach, you figure out why you're coaching. There comes a point where you say, this is why I need to do what I'm doing. And we're in that significance part. I'm deeply entrenched in that significance part. Okay, I don't want to be satisfied. But there's a lot of times I feel like I'm spent. There's a lot of times I feel like I'm trying to survive. Okay, but that middle part brings you back and realize why we're doing what we're doing. Coaching wrestling is not an easy job. If we all get paid by the hour, we'd be very wealthy men. With that said, coaching is extremely rewarding and an honorable profession. Wrestling is special on so many fronts. Winning is the ultimate goal, and there are few things that are more fun than seeing the joy in your wrestlers' faces after a hard-fought victory. I've been so fortunate to be on the end of 2 leaps in my arms, center man at the NCAA Championships. Just knowing that what went into an accomplished goal is exhausting in itself. There is no doubt that it's the competition week in and week out that keeps us going, wanting to relive the experience again. We must never lose sight, however, that the opportunity to coach these young men and experience victory together, there also comes a huge responsibility to make a difference in their lives. We must never lose sight of the fact that once their coach, always their coach. Where others have failed them, we coaches cannot. Where others have created mistrust, we must bring trust. Where others have created disrespect, we must bring respect. Where others have let them down, we must support them. We owe that to them regardless of their talent or their ability. We owe the them regardless of the wins or losses. We must coach number 25 on our roster like we coach number 1. We owe that to this great sport of wrestling, which constantly challenges us week in and week out. The sport we coach not only challenges us to keep our egos in check when we win, but forces us to face our fears when we lose. Wrestling has the ability to bring out the very best in us at times, and as well as the very worst in us at times. Here's to hoping it brings the best out in each and every one of us. Finally, encourage your wrestlers to dream bigger. And finally, the wrestlers in the audience, have a passion for what you're doing. Something has to drive you to be great in everything. I know, I tell my athletes all the time, I don't know why you want to be great in one thing and not everything. Have a great work ethic, but realize that just working hard, you're not guaranteed success. You need to do it the right way. Trust in those who are in a position to help you become great. I always tell my wrestlers, I've been 18 to 22 years old before, and you've never been my age. So trust us. Reject the word can't. Don't let anybody tell you you can't. Ask yourself 3 questions. First question is, can people trust me to do the right thing? Number 2, am I committed to doing my best? And number 3, do I care about people and do I show it? If you can answer yes to those 3 questions, there's no way you can fail. And finally, I need to pass on a story that impacted my life. And it was from Coach Peckham. First year I got the job. I had the honor of taking over the reins at Harvard University, Coach Jim Peckham. I'm sitting in the office, and I'm frustrated. And I hear the keys coming in. Who's coming in the office? Coach Peckham. Still have the keys to the office. I'm not going to say anything. He goes, Jay, what's wrong, bro? I said, Coach, I want to be great. I want to be successful. I want to represent Harvard to the utmost that I can. I want people to be proud of what we're doing here. I want Harvard wrestlers to be proud of what we got going here. And Coach did it in his own way. He said, that's easy. He goes, do 2 things. And I started getting my tablet, and he's like, you don't need a tablet. Listen. He goes, be a good person. Develop a character that people like you. People want to be around you. People respect you. People can trust that you're going to do the right thing. Care about people. Show it. I'm like, right? I get too wrapped up in wins and losses. Okay, what's number 2? And he got close and he put his big paw around me. He squeezed my shoulder and he says, outwork everybody. If we can do those 2 things, I think now speaking with everybody, if we can do those 2 things, we develop a character that people want to be around us, people want to like, people want to befriend us. If we just work harder than everybody, where would we be? So in closing, I challenge every one of you to not wait for your wave to come, but have the courage to start your own way. Bang your drum loudly, because people will listen and follow. And the last thing is dream bigger. Thank you very much.
He's a man of timing. Right on cue. Hitter serve.